Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome to this morning's session, Xplan Mortgage Knowledge Bank, the holy grail of mortgage sourcing. My name is Stephen Cowdell, one of the business development managers here at Iress. I'm joined by Nicola Firth from Knowledge Bank. Hi, Nicola. Good morning. How you doing?
Stephen, well, thank you. You?
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Very well. Very excited about showing this integration this morning. So yeah, we're just waiting for a few more people to join. I can see the attendees still dropping in. So we're just going to delay the start for about 1 or 2 minutes, just whilst we wait for a couple of others, and then we'll get the session started. Thank you. Okay, so it looks as though we've got everybody now. There's probably a few more people who will be joining the session, but just a note to everybody, this session is being recorded, so we will be sharing a copy of the session with you all following the webinar. Okay, so again, just want to welcome everybody to this morning's session. This is the Xplan Mortgage and Knowledge Bank session. We're referring to this as the holy grail of mortgage sourcing. Both Iress and Knowledge Bank really excited about showcasing the functionality with you this morning. We've got an agenda that we're going to be running through. We'll kick off with some introductions of myself and Nicola. We're then going to have a look at a live demonstration showcasing the Knowledge Bank and Xplan Mortgage integration, as well as looking at Knowledge Bank directly as well. We're then going to show you how to actually register to use this service, and then we're going to finish off with a Q&A session. Okay, excellent. So let's just kick off then with some introductions. So as I said, my name's Stephen Cowdell. I'm one of the business development managers here at Iress. Look after everything to do with sourcing. Nicola, over to you. Do you want to give a brief introduction, please?
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. So my name's Nicola Firth. I'm the founder and CEO of Knowledge Bank. Just to give you a little bit of background into my sort of history, I was a broker for around 14 years, and so I completely understand from a broker's perspective the challenges, and that's where Knowledge Bank was born from, as a reaction really to the industry and criteria becoming very, very important, and the industry responding by keeping multiple spreadsheets. It just made sense to me that the industry had one place to go for their criteria. It was kept up to date directly by lenders themselves, and it's that sort of we have a saying at Knowledge Bank, one version of the truth, you know. So everybody's asking the same questions, but we all want the same, the consistency in terms of the answers, and that stops cases from going to lenders that are perhaps not going to be accepted or declined for various reasons. So it just helps lenders get their messaging out. So that's where Knowledge Bank was born from, and my background really. To give you an idea of Knowledge Bank, Knowledge Bank is a standalone system as well as various integrations, not least the one that we're going to demonstrate today with Iress Xplan Mortgage. But we have, just last year, we had over 1 million searches done on the system. So it's quite a busy place to be. So we can tell that brokers are searching those cases. And we cover residential, buy-to-let, second charges, self-build, equity release, bridging and commercial on there as well. The integration we're going to show you today just covers residential and buy-to-let because obviously that's where we're looking with regards to Xplan Mortgage. But we have over 250 lenders and over 125,000 individual pieces of criteria on the system. So that just gives you a little bit of context there in terms of Knowledge Bank.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Nicola. Excellent introduction to Knowledge Bank. So we're going to start now by running through a live demonstration of Xplan Mortgage. I'm going to show you how quickly and easy it is to source using the system. And then what we're going to do is actually showcase this latest enhancement to the integration with Knowledge Bank. So the first thing I'm going to do is just log in to Xplan Mortgage. Okay, so from the dashboard, I'm just going to show you how simple it is to actually perform some sourcing. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the mortgage quote area on the left-hand side of the screen. And I'm going to enter some basic client information, then some details of the mortgage that we're actually looking for. So the first scenario that we'll look at today is just a straightforward purchase, maybe for a first-time buyer. We'll keep it relatively simple. So on the right-hand side of the screen, if you want to select a rate preference at this stage, you can do. You can also specify an initial term, as well as stipulate your total to pay calculation requirements as well. Okay, so we're now going to source the products. Xplan Mortgage is a completely live system, so you're always going to have the most up-to-date product rates and product data. And here we have results up on screen. So let's just have a quick look at the results screen, first of all. So in the top right-hand corner, you can see how many products have been returned, 3,432, this fairly generic search that we performed here. Then below we have details of the products which are being returned. So the first column here, we have details about the lender, distribution type. Column number 2 shows the initial rate, the product rate type, the initial period, the initial payment. Column number 3 jumps over to the reverting rate and the reverting payment. And then finally, the final column shows everything to do with any fees associated to the actual mortgage itself. Now, we do have a basic Knowledge Bank integration, which is currently free of charge. So if I was to select one of these lenders, let's go with Barclays. On the left-hand side of the screen here, you can see we have the option to check criteria. So when I select check criteria, this is going to take us into what we refer to as the bank. And this will expose to you all the different areas of criteria that Barclays support and supply to Xplan via Knowledge Bank. What we've got here, 490 different types. And at this point here, it's very, very simple just to select a category to expose a bit more information about this, as we can see here. If I was to select one of these options, perhaps a default over £500, it's going to expose all the information here, really just to help you make an informed decision. It's obviously quite difficult at the moment with the COVID situation, getting through to BDMs at lenders and also getting through to lenders themselves. So rather than maybe spend an excess amount of time trying to get through to the lender, all you have to do is use this Knowledge Bank integration, and this will surface some of the information that we've got here. Okay, so back to the actual results. So now what we're going to do, we're going to actually have a look at the criteria search area here. So Nicola, from your perspective, what would you class as being fairly standard sort of criteria? You know, what's the most common or search for criteria at the moment?
So it depends whether you're looking at residential or buy-to-let. We have ones that feature regularly in our sort of top 5. We do publish those every month, and they're in the trade press. We have our criteria activity tracker, just so people can get a feel really for what's being searched. In residential, it's very, very common to see criteria around self-employed, especially things like 1 year's accounts. That is regularly in the top 5 on residential. So that is a very, very common feature. But we have also added criteria categories as well. So, for example, we added just last week, we added cladding. So, because obviously that is a very, there you go, the EWS1 form, and what lenders' policy is around that, because that is something at the moment that is quite a significant consideration when you're trying to place a case on that kind of property. Also recently we've seen criteria sort of searches increase at the start of this year around expats, obviously a direct correlation there with Brexit. So we have seen that kind of thing. And of course, adverse credit always features in the top 10. So yeah, a good mix on the buy-to-let side. We often see first-time landlords in there. Regulated buy-to-let comes up a lot as well. So yeah, it's quite interesting to see what does change, and we also see sort of shifts as well as you might expect. So after Christmas, for example, debt consolidation rises to the top, and so it's really interesting to see the trends, to be fair. Excellent.
Okay, so let's have a look at the first scenario then. So let's have a look at some adverse. I think obviously with COVID, undoubtedly there's going to be clients of yours who perhaps you've sold to many times over in the previous years, who unfortunately due to COVID not being able to work, could have picked up some adverse credit. So in those sort of scenarios, yeah, using the Knowledge Bank integration is really going to help out. So let's just type in some adverse details here.
Worth the mention as well, Stephen, that in this search bar here, so there's two ways that you can search. So you can either type something in there. So if you type debt management, for example, it will bring you all the categories up to do with debt management. And then in the browse criteria, which is the next tab, you can select. So if you click on adverse credit there, you'll see all the categories that are on the system to do with adverse credit. And the same for the others. So we've got, conveyancing and legal, employment, self-employed, landlords and tenancies. They're all in there to select from. But one quite nice feature that we have, which is completely unique to Knowledge Bank, is just a helpful feature when somebody's searching in that first tab in the search criteria. So if you type in, for example, the word thatched, as in a thatched roof, automatically it will come up with period properties. So it knows, it's very, very intelligent. It knows exactly what's being looked at, and that's completely unique to Knowledge Bank. That was important because we, in our industry, there are often 2, maybe 3 different words to describe different things, aren't there? So we make sure that whatever you're looking for, you can find it. So it's not, you're not wasting time searching through things that you don't need. So yeah, so if you, let's do a search. Let's put in the CCJ. That's always fun, isn't it? We type in a CCJ.
Okay, so let's go for CCJ up to 500.
Let's go more. Yeah, go. That's fine. That's fine. Let's do that. Then let's have a look at somebody with self-employed 1 year's accounts.
There we go.
And you can put as many of these as you like in. If we go into, they could get child benefit, for example, that they want to take into consideration for affordability. So if you just type in child.
There we go.
There you go. So we can leave it at 3, but you can, depending on how complex your case is, there's no limit to how many you can select.
Okay, brilliant. So once we've added in the criteria that we'd like to query against Knowledge Bank, all we then have to do is use this Search Knowledge Bank button, which is shown at the bottom of the screen here. Okay, and here we have the results. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here, just to make it a little bit clearer. So Nicola, do you just want to run us through the details on the key and kind of explain the logic behind this, please?
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to criteria, as every advisor on this webinar will know, there is no such thing as black and white. It's black-white with various shades of grey in the middle. And so we wanted to create a system on Knowledge Bank that would give you, really make you sort of look and think, okay, will my case fit? Is it a yes? Is it a no? Is it something in between? So with the key, we have several gradings and they're colour coded as well, but obviously we also have the wording as well there. So if anybody is colourblind, it doesn't restrict or hamper you using the system. So the green icon is a yes, and that's where the lender is saying, yes, we will definitely lend. That's our kind of business. So you can be pretty sure that if you place that case, that's a piece of criteria that lender is going to lend. The next one is yellow, which is yes with conditions. Now, yes with conditions is where the lender's saying, for example, will you take overtime into consideration? And the lender might say, yes, we will, but we need to see 3 months pay slips or a P60 as evidence. And you can look at that alongside the case that you're looking at, and that will either be a yes or a no, depending on the case that you're presented with from your clients. The next one is yes by exception. Yes by exception, a good example of that would be, so for example, a day 1 remortgage, where the 6-month rule comes into play. So a lender will say, no, we don't do day 1 remortgages, but we will if the property is inherited. So that's a definite exception that they can give. Just to skip down to the bottom is a no. We put that on there because that's so important for advisors to get a quick no. That is incredibly important. So we put that on there and they will sync to the bottom. So the yeses go to the top and the nos go to the bottom. And then the other thing, we have a purple question mark there, and that is refer to lender. Now, we put that in there just because it is better than a no. A chance is better than no chance. So we have put that in there, and that's the order that the results come in. You'll see the one at the bottom in grey is information. We ask all of the questions on Knowledge Bank to elicit a yes or no answer. So as the lender fills them in, that's how we ask the questions, to make sure that we're getting the yeses to the top and the no's to the bottom. But there are some questions that it's just not appropriate to ask yes or no on, and that might be, so for example, what accountant's qualifications does the lender recognise? So that's where the information at the bottom would come in, and you would see them under there. So that's how they work. So the lender with the most yeses will come to the top, and with the most no's will go to the bottom. So effectively, the ones that come to the top are the lenders that are looking to do it. So yes, that's our grading system. That was we put that in place because it just seemed logical. Rather than saying yes or no, it was important that those other yes with conditions, yes by exception, and refer to lender were in there to help you to place your cases.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Nicola. And in terms of the way that the Knowledge Bank update the criteria, could you just give a bit of an overview on the process and how the lenders actually provide this information to you?
Yes, definitely. So every lender, and we have over 250 lenders, every lender has their own login to the system. So they update the system directly. When they go in and update, they have various options. So they can, one of the options that they have is a hold and approve function. So it's so important that this information is correct and it's up to date. So lenders have the ability to put things in ahead of time. So for example, if they know that criteria is changing at 9 o'clock on Monday morning, they can put that information in there, they can schedule it, and when you log on 9 o'clock Monday morning, that information is correct and up to date on there. So yes, it's lenders. I mean, we do have a brilliant lender support team who manage the relationships with lenders, but lenders all have their own login to the system. And there are quite a lot of lenders that use Knowledge Bank to power their own websites as well. So they take our API and they keep their own websites up to date, which is, again, going back to that quote, the one version of the truth. Again, it's that consistency of criteria. So when you look on their websites, it's the same wording, so that you can be confident in terms of what you're seeing there.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Nicola. And I think criteria is such a big important factor when trying to find mortgages at the moment. This is undoubtedly going to add some real value to anyone that actually uses this. I think the efficiency aspect as well is really, really important at the moment. But I think the standout thing for me is that by using this service, it creates more of a level playing field. There's going to be a lot of lenders potentially which come up within the results here. As a broker, you may have never used them historically. Perhaps they're just completely not on your radar. So without a shadow of a doubt, this is really going to create more of a level playing field, and we're probably going to start to see business being spread a little bit wider, not just the usual 10 or 15 lenders that some brokers will historically use. So yeah, really, really excited to kind of see how that pans out.
Yeah, it's a really good point, that, Stephen, actually, because that's really important. I think, brokers have a lot of criteria in their head. And when we first started, a lot of brokers said, oh, we know what the criteria is of lenders. But to give you an example, just last year alone, we had almost 40,000 changes to criteria. So even if you could remember that many, it would be almost impossible to keep up with the changes. And I mean, last year's the rate of changes was like nothing we'd ever seen before. But even in a normal year, the rate of changes is pretty rapid. So this is all of that at your fingertips, really.
That's brilliant. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now, this is where the real power of this integration comes into force. So what you're going to see here on the right hand side, you've got these tick boxes next to the lenders. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the lenders which meet the criteria based on the search we're actually doing here. Using these tick boxes, we've got an option at the top where you can select all. But I'm just going to select a range of lenders here, like so. At this point, I can then hit source in the top right hand corner. And effectively what we've done here, we've actually sourced the mortgage products using all the data that we've actually got. And then what we're able to do is filter down those results based on the criteria that we've selected within Knowledge Bank. So all the products now showing up on the screen, these are all products which either meet that criteria or have the yellow tick to say that it would be considered. So at the moment, you're probably having to use two separate systems to actually run this, whereas with this single sourcing solution here, you're able to source your mortgage products as you would usually do, but then actually filter those products down even deeper using the criteria supplied by Knowledge Bank, as we can see here.
And I think the other thing about this as well, Stephen, is the fact that you can do it either way. And I know, having been a broker, that sometimes you're looking at product first and then you go to criteria. But there are some cases where you need to go to criteria first and say, look, am I going to get this person a mortgage or not before I even look at products? And the beauty of this is that it's been designed that you can do either first. So there's no, you don't necessarily have to do product then criteria. You can do criteria then product. So it's maximum flexibility that's been built in.
Excellent. Okay, so let's run through some different scenarios. Very, very simple to do. All you've got to do is go back into the criteria search here and select edit search. At that point, if you want to add additional criteria or if you want to build a new scenario, again, it's very simple just to remove some options. Then go back to either the browse criteria, as Nicola mentioned earlier, we can select these relevant options here, or use the search criteria to use those tags to just type in a query to see what actually comes up. So we've had a look at the adverse with the self-employed. As you'll see here, we've got loads and loads of different categories. Nicola, what would you suggest as being another good scenario to look at?
So we could have a look at cladding. Let's have a little look at that. So if you just type in cladding, let's look at that one, because that's quite a new one. We're still in residential, aren't we, as well?
Yes, we are, yeah.
So if you go into browse criteria, so you can see here, you can select from all of these types of things. So if you go on employment, for example, and you could have somebody who is on in a probationary period, that's a good one. So if you add that one in, and there you go, you could search on those two. I say you can search on as many as you like. There are no restrictions on either on the Xplan Mortgage integration or on Knowledge Bank on the standalone system.
Excellent. So here we have the results. A little bit different before. Obviously, this criteria is slightly trickier than what we were looking at previously. So again, referring to the key, having a look at what the icons refer to, you know, that will help you build your logic on who potentially to place the case with. As Nicola mentioned earlier, we've obviously got the information only here, symbols. So again, just make sure that you are looking at the notes that are contained within the system here. So again, similar to before, if we select a range of products that we would like to consider.
Actually, it's worth just saying as well, Stephen, that if on Nationwide there, you can see, if you look at the probationary period, you can click on read more and it will pop out on the system. Shown a bit blurred on mine because I think I've got a smaller screen, so I think that's perhaps why that's shown as a little bit blurred. But yeah, you can pop those out and read some more information there, because there are lenders that do put a lot of detail in, and lenders can also put links back to their own websites as well. So if there are forms that are relevant to a case, for example, a gifted deposit form or something like that, you can go straight in there and be linked directly to the lender's website as well.
Brilliant. Okay. So again, similar to what we had actually performed before. Again, I'm just going to show you this quite long list here. At the point where you've selected the lenders that you would like to test against the mortgage products as well as the criteria, again, it's just one click to perform that source in the top right hand corner. Okay, and here we have it. So hopefully you can already see the benefit of what we've actually done here between Xplan and Knowledge Bank. You know, clearly this is going to add some great efficiency for you. It's going to provide you with far more accuracy when you're sourcing at a time when trying to find mortgages for clients is probably the trickiest it ever has been, especially with everything that's happened within the last 12 months. Nicola, in terms of Knowledge Bank directly as well, so when signing up to use our integration, they can also access Knowledge Bank directly.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just show you that if I think I'm able to.
Yep, you can share. Yep.
just to say, we've got lots of questions, so we'll just cover a few more bits and then we'll get round to all your questions, because there are some great questions that have been asked. So we will get round to those shortly. So let me screen share with you. So this is Knowledge Bank, the standalone system. So when you have a subscription to Knowledge Bank, you automatically get access to the full Knowledge Bank system, but all benefit from all of the integrations that we have. So to show you on here, we have things like, for example, we have SVR tables that you can look up very quickly on residential and buy-to-let. This is something that a broker asked for on Twitter, actually, and we just did that very quickly. Service levels are another one that we have. So for residential and buy-to-let, you can look down there and pick those lenders out, because of course that's something that you might want to base your recommendation on for those kind of cases. So as you go into here as well, as I say, all of the different lending types, we put them all in one place, because even as a broker, you might just deal with residential and buy-to-let, for example, but those customers or their friends or family can also be to release customers. They turn into self-billed customers. They might want the second charge to do bridging and commercial. So they're on there, so you can have a little look around and at least make a very confident referral to maybe a specialist in that area if that's not something you want to do yourself. What you will see here is it's exactly the same. So as I said earlier, typing in thatched, you can see we've got the criteria in there. So it looks very, very similar, if not the same, actually. So you can go on here and you can select absolutely anything that you want out of there, and the same results come up. So you're getting the same experience on Knowledge Bank as you are in Xplan Mortgage as well. I think that's very important to note, because of course, from that respect, it's a case of that familiarity that you're not needing to learn to use another system. The other thing that you can do in Knowledge Bank as well is save your searches and produce evidence of research. And we're going to come on to that shortly, Stephen, because we have had a question on evidence of research. So I will just bring that up. So the save searches, one thing just to tell you as well, as of tomorrow, it gets released this evening, but any search that you do in Xplan Mortgage will go into a recent searches button. So the two systems are absolutely integrated and linked both ways, forwards and backwards. The other thing that you're able to do on here, I mentioned before, you have your little pop out so you can read more information. On the system, we allow you to report as incorrect, because consistency and correct messaging is extremely important. And as soon as the report is incorrect is clicked, there are lights and buzzers go off everywhere, and our team jump on that straight away. You'll get a personalised email. It's not computer generated. One of our team will contact you, thank you for reporting that, and then what they'll do is they will check directly with the lender on that information, and they'll come back to you and let you know. Sometimes there is incorrect information, but if you think if I give you an example, we have over 125,000 pieces of criteria on there. We normally get 4 to 5 incorrect criteria reports a week. So just to put that in context, and it's also fair to say that they're not always incorrect. Sometimes the lender's given the wrong information out, or BDM, or their website, or something like that. So it's not, we keep incorrect criteria to an absolute minimum. You can also check the criteria history. I've picked one with none in, but you can check the criteria history there. And the other great thing is that you can put your notes in here as well. So if you meet with the BDM for Kensington, for example, and they're saying, actually, for a good case, we don't publish this information, but for a good case, we would do this. That also goes in there as well. So yeah, I'm just going to show you the evidence of research. I'll show you one that's been saved. So you've got save searches and my research as well. So if we just go into that, I'll show you what that looks like. So the evidence of research that you're able to produce from Knowledge Bank is here. This sits alongside your product sourcing results. This is, I consider this from a compliance perspective, absolutely essential when you're not selecting the cheapest product. You have to justify why you've selected that product. So here you can put in, the property value, loan amount, loan term, and the criteria considerations that assisted the reason for recommendation. And what you have is an evidence of research that says, on this day, at this time, this is what these lenders said. So in the event of a complaint and somebody comes back to you and so let me scroll right down and find a lender that would say no, they could be right down at the bottom. So Aldermore, they wouldn't do the further advance. You know, you're questioned on that, for example, and you would be told, okay, well, why did you pick that? And you can go straight back to your evidence of research and say, because on this day at this time, based on these criteria categories, this is what these lenders said their criteria was. So that's your evidence of research. Of course, we also have the bank, which is the same as you saw in Xplan Mortgage, where you can just look at one lender individually. So lots of things that you can do on the system, but you get full access to that as well with the Xplan Mortgage integration.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Nicola. So I'm just going to show you how to actually register for Knowledge Bank via Xplan Mortgage, and then we're going to start the Q&A session. So let me just share my screen with you again. There we go. So we've made it super simple for you. All you've got to do is click onto your account symbol in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And then underneath that, you'll see here you have the option for Knowledge Bank credentials. So for those of you that already have a Knowledge Bank, feel free to use your existing username and password, and we'll be able to link the two accounts together. Otherwise, if you're looking to obtain a license for Knowledge Bank, all you've got to do is select on Manage My Accounts, and that'll take you through to Knowledge Bank and put you through a registration process. It's pretty instantaneous as well, isn't it, Nicola? I ran it myself the other day. It probably took less than a minute to do, and then linked my Xplan with my Knowledge Bank account.
Yeah, it's really, really simple. One of the things that we're sort of really big on, and I know you guys at Iress are, is simplicity. You shouldn't have to take time out to learn new things, and linking the two accounts together, again, it should be very, very intuitive. So if you think of like eBay and PayPal, you just do it and it's just linked in, and that's exactly how Knowledge Bank and Iress Xplan Mortgage have done this. So as soon as you register, your two accounts are linked together. So of course the systems work independently, but you never have to enter your credentials again. It's just linked in automatically.
Brilliant, excellent. So over to the Q&A session now. So we've had loads and loads of questions which have come through. Nicola, you've got visibility of those, haven't you, as well?
I have. Do you want me to start with a few of those?
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thanks.
I think some of them we might have covered. So we did say, so Stephen's asked, can you still print research and a care file for compliance? Well, yes, Stephen, there's probably one for you, but absolutely you can, because there's nothing has changed on the Xplan mortgage system. The Knowledge Bank integration is just purely in addition to that. And the results as evidence of research, as Philip's asked for, that's what I showed you there. But I do know that there is something coming on Xplan Mortgage with regards to that as well, so you can do that all from there. Just asks questions that we've been asked about. So Matthew says, we already use Iress, Trigold and Knowledge Bank. Is there a new cost for the integration via Xplan? Matthew, there's no extra cost. So if you have a Knowledge Bank license and an Xplan mortgage license, there's no extra cost for the integration, that you just pair them together on this screen that Stephen's shown you. But the integration is only on Xplan Mortgage, it's not on Trigold. So you would need to swap over to Xplan Mortgage. That's the case, isn't it, Stephen?
That's correct, Nicola. Yeah, so we're going to be contacting everybody that's attending the session today. There will be a survey following the webinar as well. So following that, we will be in contact with you. We're actively trying to move people now from Trigold to Xplan Mortgage. There's a whole host of reasons why you should be looking to switch. Knowledge Bank is certainly a very, very strong reason, but as well as quite a few other options and solutions that we've got available for you in Xplan Mortgage, which are not available within Trigold. So we will be in contact with you following the webinar to discuss moving you from Trigold to Xplan Mortgage.
Brilliant, thank you for that. And it is, I have to say, from my point of view, I can genuinely say as a broker, I used to use Trigold, and then obviously I went to work for Knowledge Bank after that, and the Xplan mortgage system is fantastic, and as a broker, I would have switched definitely, had that been available. And the enhancements, even before the Knowledge Bank integration, are absolutely brilliant. So yeah, definitely. Roger, thank you. Roger said, I like this bit. I think that was when we came to the criteria and products fused together. So thanks, Roger. It's certainly been very popular. It was a broker that called it the holy grail of mortgage sourcing, which is great. Let's just pop onto the Q&A then. So Pete's asked, the SEIS sales grant and bounce back loans, are they in the search criteria? Now, they're not, Pete, but we'll just explain why on that score. The reason that they're not in is because we asked every single lender what their view was on this, and they were very adamant in their response that those loans from the government shouldn't be being used for things like deposits. It was a case of no, they shouldn't, so don't ask. So we did sort of narrate that then, because the other thing we do at Knowledge Bank as well, we send out twice weekly criteria update emails, which they go out to well over, I think it's about 6,000 brokers now, and then they're very well read because we summarise the changes every couple of days. So of course the information is live on the system, but we summarise the changes, and that's something that we covered in there. Miles has asked, can you only access this when creating a new quote, and how does it work for existing clients that a Knowledge Bank search would help with? Stephen, that's probably one for you.
Yeah, so you can access Knowledge Bank once you've actually created the client and actually started to generate some sourcing. So again, let me just quickly demonstrate how quick and simple it is to source within the system. So selecting mortgage quote from the dashboard, entering as a minimum just the client's name and gender, then actually building your mortgage search query. So I'm just going to enter the term. I'm just going to change the loan to value to 70% and then just hit source. Any clients that you've already got stored within the Xplan system, it's very easy just to pick up and quote for them. So whether it's an existing client you've already quoted perhaps within the last couple of days, it's very simple for you just to go back in, re-quote that query, resource it, and then actually go to criteria search and then start to apply that criteria. Okay. Yeah, we've got loads and loads of questions coming through at the moment.
Yes, we've got. Well, I'll go to the next one. Next one is from Linda. I have a standalone Knowledge Bank account. How do I get that to be integrated with Xplan? If you just pop onto that screen, Stephen, it's really easy, Linda. You just you go into there and into the manage my account. So Stephen's just showing you on screen there. And you just link your accounts together. So from this page, if you're already a Knowledge Bank user, you can link your account. If you're not already a Knowledge Bank user, from this page, you can take a free 30-day trial. So you get a full access for a full 30 days before you would need to subscribe. So you can try the integration for a good period of time. But Linda, you say you've got a Knowledge Bank account. So yeah, you just go into here and you link your account to Iress Xplan Mortgage. And you only need to do that once. Once it's done, that's it. You don't need to do it every time. Every time you log into Xplan Mortgage, your Knowledge Bank is there all the time then. So what else have we got?
Loads of really good points coming in from people saying
Yeah,
how this is going to save them time, save them hours. It's a game changer. So yeah, really pleased to see that feedback coming through. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Definitely. Question here from Kushel asks, thanks for the great info. I have a Knowledge Bank subscription, which I pay for, also a Trigoal subscription. In order to use the new Iress Knowledge Bank integration, do I then need to subscribe to Xplan Mortgage and pay for that? And what's the cost? So, Stephen, one for you there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're actively migrating our client server from Trigoal to Xplan Mortgage at the moment. In terms of the cost, what we'll do, anyone that's inquired, we will contact them following the session to actually run through. A lot of the time, it really depends on the network or mortgage club that you belong to. So any questions about price, what we'll do, we'll contact you all individually following the session to give you a run through on the cost of Xplan Mortgage, as well as all the other features that you can actually get as well. So yeah, happy to pick up with everyone individually following the session on cost.
Brilliant. So yeah, actually that probably answers Paul's asked the question, is this integration only for Xplan and not Trigoal? Yeah, that's right, that is the case. So it's Xplan Mortgage that the integration is with and not Trigoal, because there are other things as well with Xplan Mortgage, other integrations as well that I know we've not discussed on here, but with to do with credit checks and things like that and affordability. So Xplan's really it's very feature rich. It's been loaded with lots of great tools. So that's what I say, as a broker, I would have swapped over, definitely. Charles, sorry, Steve.
I was going to say, yeah, on that point, Nicola, I think, gone are the days where, you're kind of being forced to use multiple different platforms. If you look maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you'd have one platform for your protection, one platform for your mortgages, and so on. But what we've done with Xplan Mortgages is just create a single sourcing solution. So as Nicola mentioned, we've got the eligibility module, which is a soft footprint credit search service that checks affordability and the credit bureau information on your client. Obviously, Knowledge Bank, we've got integrated protection, and we're just rolling out our Lender Connect service as well. So here at Iress, we actually build lending platforms. We've got 4 lenders who are switched on now. So when it comes down to actually submitting your application, it's just one click of a button to do your DIP, and you're getting around about 95% completion with one click of a button. So again, that really just demonstrates that the focus that we've had here surrounding efficiency and really just trying to save time for you to spend more time with your clients.
Yeah, that's the goal, isn't it? I know when you're a broker, that's what you want to be doing, isn't it? Spending time with more clients. A quick question here for you, Stephen, actually. So Charles has asked the question. He says, I have a Knowledge Bank account, but I don't have the link on my drop-down box in Xplan Mortgage. What might the reason be for that? I know what I think the answer might be, but Stephen, I'll pass to you on that one.
I'm I'm not entirely sure, Nicola, to be honest, why the link wouldn't be there.
I'm just wondering whether you have, Charles, if you are, for example, an AR of Quilter, maybe. So there are just various releases.
Possibly, yeah.
Could be a reason, but we'd be happy to check that out if you are on a different version of Xplan Mortgage, but it's coming.
Yeah, I'd say literally within the next month, I think all of our Xplan Mortgage clients will have access to this. So yeah, I'll pick it with you following the session, Charles, and we'll figure out what's happened and give you an indication of when that will become available for you.
Brilliant. Philip has asked, I have an existing Knowledge Bank account and use TriGold. Can this be changed to Xplan? And what's the overall cost for this? So actually, let me just, that's a good question. Yes, it can. You can swap that over from TriGold to Xplan. Absolutely. Cost-wise, I know Stephen's going to pick up with everybody after the call regarding Xplan Mortgage, but I'll just address the cost side of things for Knowledge Bank. So one thing that was really important to us is we kept the cost as affordable as possible. So we recognise the value of Knowledge Bank, not only to experienced brokers in the industry, but also new starters as well. And obviously, you have lots of things that you have to pay, whether it's network fees, PI cover, different systems that you use. So we kept the pricing to an absolute minimum, and we've gone one further than that and offered a discount if you sign up via Xplan Mortgage. So there are 3 choices. You can either have a monthly license, an annual license, or a team plan. So again, really simple. The monthly license, it is £12.75 plus VAT. Sorry, we do have to charge VAT, unfortunately. The VAT man won't let us get away without it. So £12.75 plus VAT, and that's per month. Or if you want to take that on an annual basis, so you just pay per year, it makes it even cheaper still. So that's £134.99 plus VAT for the year. And then we also have team plans as well. And it, again, depends on how many are in your team, but that takes it down to as little as £10 plus VAT per advisor. So if you have a team of you that want to use it. And actually that brings me, Stephen, nicely on to the next question that Patrick's asked as well. So Patrick's asked, can our paraplanners link the same account as I use as a broker, i.e. just needing one account? PS, love KB, game changer, especially this last year. Thank you, Patrick, that's very kind. Yeah, you absolutely can. So your paraplanner, because it would all be in your name, so it's one advisor, one license. But if you're using a paraplanner, we're happy for them to be using your integration. That's not a problem because they're doing everything. The advice is going in your name. It's just that they're doing the research. So you don't need that extra license for your paraplanner. But because obviously from a GDPR point of view, you wouldn't want other advisors in your firm being able to see what you've been working on, and that wouldn't be right. So it's one advisor, one license. But if you're using a paraplanner, that's somebody that you've actually trusted to do that job, then that's absolutely fine, and that is not a problem. Next question. Roger says, I currently use Mortgage Brain, so not used Xplan at all. The system looks really good, a time saver. When printing a KFI, can you produce a KFI with fees added and without fees added? It's a good question.
Yes, you can, absolutely. So Xplan Mortgage is designed on Trigold. It gives you the ability to source both with and without fees. Ultimately, what you can do is create multiple requirements. I certainly know with a lot of the networks that I look after, for certain clients, maybe if it was a remortgage debt consolidation, you may need to produce 4 sets of research just for one client. So what I would say is, following this session, what we're going to be doing, as I said, is reaching out to you all to book you onto a session to run through the finer details of Xplan Mortgage. Today's session was really focused on the power of the actual knowledge bank integration with Xplan Mortgage. But what we'll be doing is running a series of webinars over the next couple of weeks, showcasing Xplan Mortgage in its full entirety for you. So that's looking at sourcing, it's looking at the integrated protection journey, it's looking at the eligibility. Again, we will revisit Knowledge Bank, as well as look at Lender Connect as well. So yeah, there's a whole lot of richness within Xplan Mortgage, even client portals as well. So for those of you which do use third-party systems, I would certainly recommend you attend one of our sessions over the next couple of weeks, just to fully understand the full power of Xplan Mortgage.
Yeah, definitely, because we've got quite a few questions on that. Are you all right if we jump to what we're all right time-wise, aren't we? Can we
Yep.
more questions on the Xplan Mortgage? So we've had a couple of questions about swapping over from Trigold and the client information migrating over to Xplan. And then you can probably tie this in with Norman's asked, I currently use Mortgage Brain, stroke the key. What selling points would you make to suggest changing? Stephen, you're on. This is your moment.
So here at Iress, we're a fairly unique business compared to the likes of Mortgage Brain and also a few of the competitors out there as well. We're the only sourcing provider that runs both mortgage and protection sourcing. So with Xplan Mortgage, not only do you get all the benefits that you would have had with Trigold, but for those of you that also use the exchange, you've also got the power of the exchange as well. As you'll see here from the dashboard, you've got the option to do protection quoting. And what we thought is, let's give brokers the ability to at least plant the seed, the cost of protection much sooner within the sales process, really just trying to help you cover your client for all of their requirements. We also power lenders, as I mentioned earlier here. So we actually build a lot of lending platforms. So most recently, the ones you probably would be aware of would be the likes of TSB, YBS, Accord, Darlington, Principality, Leeds, Coventry, and so on. So the next large phase of what we're doing to drive efficiency is connecting Xplan to the lending platforms. So as I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to do a DIP or application in principle with one of our lenders, you get 95% completion with one click of a button. I think a DIP would normally take in the region of about 25 to 30 minutes. And the feedback we've got from people so far is we're reducing that down to maybe 5 or 6 minutes. So there's a whole lot of richness and functionality here, which just isn't available elsewhere. So what I would certainly recommend is over the next couple of weeks, join one of our sales demos. We'll go through this in a lot of detail for you. It's a very, very cost-effective solution. Again, that's a benefit of being with Iress. We are able to offer very, very cost-effective solutions here.
Brilliant. And another question for you, Stephen. So Matthew says, Trigold allows a quick search, which is very helpful in multiple scenarios. Iress seems to want more detail to source. Do you have a quick search? I know we've just done a small demo, haven't we, just to show the integration. So is there a quick search function on Xplan Mortgage?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a really interesting point. Thanks for that, Matthew. I normally challenge brokers. It's something that my boss always calls out, that we went to see a client once and they were firmly kind of bought into Trigold. Don't get me wrong, Trigold's been a brilliant product. It served the market tremendously well for the last 35 years. And they seem to think that sourcing on Trigold was quicker than Xplan Mortgage, but it absolutely isn't. As you'll see here, if you want to get your stopwatches at the ready, feel free to do so. But from the dashboard, all you've got to do is select mortgage quote and enter a name of the customer. As you can see here, you don't need to enter a date of birth or income. Then select your mortgage purpose. So again, similar to Trigold, whether it's a purchase remortgage or second charge, whether it's a first-time buyer, choose the loan type, whether it's residential or buy-to-let, and then also the repayment method. Then enter the value of the property, then either the deposit, the loan amount, or just the loan to value. That's all you have to do to source. So literally less than 30 seconds there, and you've got access to a very wide range of lending products. Those of you which are familiar with Trigold, one thing that we did, I think it was March last year, was make the screen designs as similar as possible, just to make it easier for you when you do look to transition from Trigold to Xplan Mortgage. Similar to Trigold, on the left hand side of the screen here, you've got the option to adjust the value, deposit, loan amounts, apply your rate preferences, your initial periods, your title to pay scenarios as well. We've also got product features, so this all completely mirrors Trigold. We made it as similar as possible, really just to help those of you which are looking to switch from Trigold to Xplan Mortgage. So in terms of speed, I certainly think it is much quicker than using Trigold. You don't need to update it daily like you do with Trigold either. So even that alone, it's saving you a good maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day when you're waiting for that upload to hit into Trigold.
Brilliant. So that and actually as well, while you're in there, Stephen, Phillips asks, can you sort by total cost over term?
Yep. So what we have here, we've got a total to pay column on the far right hand side of the screen. If I just go back to the product and the loan details here, you'll see we have total to pay over. So with total to pay options, you can either include the outstanding balance, you can do the calculation just over the initial period, you can ask it to do not deduct cashback and exclude other fees, including valuation fees. So that's in line with the PS20 regulation that came into force last year. So in this scenario here, if we were looking at a 25-year term, I could just enter total to pay over 25 years, hit source, and that will then update my sourcing results accordingly in total to pay order. As we can see here, you do have preferences as well. So if total to pay wasn't the way that you sourced, maybe it was initial rate or initial payment, then again you can select your preferences. So each and every time you source, it's doing all that for you. Again, in Trigold, I'm conscious that in order to do total to pay, you've got to do a couple of extra clicks. It's already built into Xplan Mortgage just to make that whole journey a lot more streamlined for you.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Kushel says, one last question. It doesn't have to be the last one, Kushel. Ask away. We're fine. Kushel says, are we able to obtain Xplan Mortgage sourcing only without the CRM services? Sorry, as we already have an internal CRM, but using the Xplan sourcing system along with the Knowledge Bank integration would be great. So can they just take Xplan Mortgage standalone, Stephen?
Yeah, you don't need to take our CRM module with Xplan Mortgage. So yeah, if it was just the sourcing element you're looking for both mortgage and protection, again, you can have that with our advice module, which also includes the client portal. So even if you already have a third-party CRM system that you're happy with, that's fine. Feel free to continue to use that. We do have a full CRM system if you are interested in switching, but if it is just the sourcing element you're looking for, then yeah, absolutely. You don't need to take the full CRM license.
Brilliant. I think that works really well, actually. I've put my broker's hat back on, but the fact that it's modular, that you can take the bits that you need for your business, I think is great, and also from a cost perspective as well.
Yeah, it's all. I was just going to mention as well. It's all powered using the same data source as Trigold. We don't have a different source of data that powers Xplan Mortgage. So we just have one source of data. If you can imagine a hierarchy that sits at the top, then the next layer would be Trigold and Xplan Mortgage, and also the APIs that we offer out to firms as well. So it's just one source of data that powers both Xplan Mortgage and Trigold. So your results will always match between the two systems. If they don't match, it's probably because of the way you've input the information onto the system. But again, in those scenarios, we've got really great office-based account managers and support teams who can help you with any queries. We also have a full training and adoption program as well that we'd put you through. We run multiple webinars every week. We've also got our Xplan Mortgage YouTube channel as well, with a load of bite-sized videos, just kind of explaining how to do things literally within about 2 or 3 minutes, just making it super simple for you.
Brilliant. Philip says, thanks for this. It's far better than 27 Tech that we have to use. Thank you, Philip. We think so, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
We might be biased, but so much thought's gone into this, and I think the real difference is, sort of on the Knowledge Bank side and on the Iress side, You know, there are so many people that have been brokers. They've done the job of a broker, and it's been an absolute pleasure to work with the Iress Xplan Mortgage team on this, because we are coming at it from a broker's point of view. We're not from a tech point, even though we are tech companies. It's genuinely from a broker's perspective. So so that's great. Thank you for that, Philip. That's great to hear. Pete's asked a question: is there any preferable system? So, for example, Chrome or Firefox for Xplan. Do you have any sort of particular browser that
Xplan Mortgage is browser agnostic, so you can use any device as long as you've got access to the internet. Those of you which use Trigold or have used Trigold will know firmly it doesn't work on a Mac device, whereas Xplan Mortgage, you don't even need to install any software. You can use on any device. It's multi-browser and multi-device. So effectively, you could be working at home on your desktop or your laptop, then walk out the door with your mobile phone or your iPad, and as long as you've got access to the internet, you're going to have access to Xplan Mortgage. It's all fully cloud-based. There's 2 data centers which power Xplan Mortgage, so it's really, really stable. And yeah, you've got access to it wherever you are. Even when lockdown finally ends and we're able to go abroad on holiday, those of you which like to work whilst you're abroad, yeah, you know, you could be sat on the beach doing your mortgage sourcing if you really want to.
If you really want to,
you really want to.
But yeah, and that's how times have changed. When I was a broker, and you know, having an offline system was essential, especially if you're going to people's homes. But now, obviously, the internet is, you can tether from your mobile phone, you can use people's Wi-Fi. It's just so easy and accessible. We have a couple more questions if we're all right for time. Yes, we've got to fit as many as we can. So okay, Deepesh has asked a question here, which I think this is a common theme across all sourcing systems, and there's probably a really easy answer. So Deepesh wants to know, why do we find sometimes a lender won't show up on Xplan when it was there the day before or earlier in the day, and then it comes up again later in the day or the next day?
Okay, yeah, it's a really good question. So happy to talk through the way that our data services work. So at Iress, we run what we call a master update every evening around about 6 p.m. And what that does, that loads the latest catalogue of products for the next day's trading. So when you hit update on Trigold, you'll see in the top right-hand corner, it will say the update date and time. And that'll, yeah, as I said, normally be around about sort of 6 p.m. or 6:30 every evening. So the data that you'll get within Trigold or Xplan is always the same. It is rare that we ever need to update again during the day, but sometimes perhaps a mistake's been made either by a lender or by us. Those are the only scenarios where we need to update the system again. But in those scenarios, if you can't find a product, rather than sit there, perhaps wasting time, just pick up the phone. We've got, as I said, support teams who are available up until I think 5:30 Monday to Friday. So yeah, if you ever get stuck, just pick up the phone and give us a call, and we can jump on. We can do a Zoom session with you. We can look at your screen, find out what's going on. It's common. I had a client yesterday, and it was just because they wanted no valuation fee, and that lender didn't meet the criteria. So it's very, very easy for us to figure out why a lender isn't showing. So yeah, in those scenarios, just pick up the phone and give us a call, and we're more than happy to jump on and help you out.
Brilliant. Couple more questions. I think we've just got time to fit a couple more in. So Pete's asked, is there a guide to Xplan mortgage and protection sourcing, and also a knowledge bank guide? So from a knowledge bank perspective, Pete, yes, there is. We actually run 3 short webinars. I think they only last sort of 15-20 minutes, 3 a week that you can jump on with, and it's Andy Ledbetter, who'd be a BDM who would run those. So that's because it's really, really intuitive, and once you've seen the system, I mean, we have people use the system that have never had any training. It's that simple to use, and because what we've done on Knowledge Bank on the standalone system is mirrored on Xplan Mortgage, there's no additional training needed in that respect from Knowledge Bank's point of views. But with regards to Xplan Mortgage and obviously the protection sourcing as well, you do have regular webinars as well, don't you, Steve?
Yeah, that's correct, Nicola. So we run webinars every week, but we've also got our Xplan Mortgage YouTube channel. So if you just typed in Xplan Mortgage Training YouTube into Google, you're going to see here we've got around about 26 different videos. all bite-sized, just a couple of minutes long, talking about how to do all the various bits of functionality within Xplan Mortgage. We always record the webinars that we do, so if you do attend a session and you would like us to send that through to you, we're more than happy to do that as well. But as I said, following the session today, what we're going to be doing is contacting everybody with a survey, just with a couple of questions, and then following that, we'll be inviting you all to attend a webinar where we'll actually run through Xplan Mortgage in a bit more detail.